we now need to apply these colors to our components. And what do I mean by that? So remember the color card I made? This is now where I start to document the colors visually. So the first one we got is the king's blue. I should move my head over to this side. Cool. So remember how I said we can apply it? We click on the styles button. We literally scroll down to kings, or we can type it in and apply. Now that's applied, that color sits within that. We can see it because right here in the fill, we can see what it is. Now we just need to label it accordingly. Now, like I said, I always label my files. I always name my layers because that is just a decent person thing to do, right? So color, and I'll call this King's Blue 100. Let's call it color just so we can see it. That is called color. Cool. Color King's Blue 100. And there we start literally just plugging in the details. Now I'm going to just get on with this, applying the colors to the components. But just before I go that, again, I'll just show you literally how it goes. So I'll literally just copy, duplicate this, the card. I'll rename the layer. This will be the 500 version. And then I'll simply apply, well, this is meant to be 100. So I'll apply the 100 color over it. And now just before we go, something interesting has happened here. So now we're met with our first accessibility encounter, right? Now everyone knows white on light blue is not going to fly in any platform or any situation of life. So this is now where we start using the colors and we start to see how useful our colors actually are within our system. So now this label is white. What I'll tend to do is I'll go down to where it's just literally stark white here, and I'll change that to King's Blue because we need absolute clarity and contrast. So now what we're indirectly doing here as well is that we're setting up a rule to say that we can use the King's 500 on top of King's 100. I hope that makes sense. And if you're going through, labeling and, sorting out your color cards, this is where we get to show how the colors can actually be used in actual scenarios. And before we go further, I'm going to go to my page components section, and I'm going to make this default color. I'll make this default color snow. Or actually, I'll make this default color King's Blue. So we can see how the color works in real time. And then I'll make the background color King's Blue 500. So that's baked into the component. So when we do our type scale as well, we're going to go back into our components and we're going to, relink these particular elements to the type scale. So again, we're kind of seeing our type scale at work before we've even published it. And I think that's really cool. If at any point in time you're looking at something and you feel like maybe the color's a bit off, maybe, because you might have an idea in your head of how these colors might be implemented, by all means, tweak your colors because we're trying to get, as close to 100% contrast as possible. But by all means, create the rules. And if the rules don't work, or again, it's not an option to use, 100 on top of a 500, then simply just, correct it in the sense of, if we can't use a 100 on top of a 500, for example, then we'll just change it to snow. So at least we know we can use a snow on top of a King's 500. So again, what we're doing here is we're showing how our color system actually works before we've actually published the system. That's how you're going to see if your colors actually work well together. Sometimes in certain systems as well, using colors together is not a thing. That might not be a rule. That might not be a brand attribute, so to speak, with regards to the visual identity. But if it is, by all means, use it to your absolute power. Do you know what I mean? Okay, let me get back in here, and I'm going to carry on making these color cards. So follow along. Less of me, more of you. This is 500. Okay. This is a very, it's like I said before, it's a labor of love we're doing here, right? So it's it's you just have to deal with it really. When it comes to our descriptions, again, when we get to the documentation side of things, we can fill those in as we go. But right now, don't worry too much about it. So again, I'm just going to grab all the color attributes again, and then this is where we see our color component properties come into use as well, because I could just literally paste that in, and boom, I'm gone. And that's it really. So we've got our, so those are our brand colors. 500 is then, paste that. Now this will be our accent colors. We'll call this sunshine. Sunshine 500. Cool. Mocha 100. Mocha 100. We saw there here that obviously we're making these work, so we can already see that we can use dark blue on top of the sunshine, which is also very useful. Now we're going to plug Mocha in. So this is Mocha 100. Plug in that hex code, and then we will, boom, it's coming together really nicely. And this will be Mocha 500. You can see how this becomes, quite mundane, but just put some music on, have a coffee, just bang it out. If you're a freelancer, you're being paid by the day, take your time with it. These things take as long as they take. This will be Mocha 500. And again, let's see, maybe we can use Mocha 100 inside the 500, on top of a 500. Does it work? Yeah, I think that works. I think that works really well, actually. Beautiful. Okay. So that's done. Now we're going to take another, and we're going to work on our functional colors. Now we're going to call this dark blue 500. And again, we're going to use snow on top of that, just to show you that contrast works really nicely as well. Cool. And then we're going to copy that over. It's going to be snow 200. Oh, I didn't even plug in the details. Okay. And that's, we call this a dark blue 500. Cool. And this is snow. Call it snow 200. We're going to apply the snow to the background. And do you know what? Snow, we'll change that to dark blue, and then the background will be boom, perfect. And then we work on our grays. I need a bigger screen. Guys, I need a bigger screen. Okay. Let's make space. So let's just work with what we got. Okay. So perfect. So copy that over. If you're following along, you'd start to pick up a rhythm to this. You start to realize, okay, copy, duplicate, take the code, plug it in, name this gray 300. And then we'll do gray 500. So gray 300. Again, we can kind of see how that works. I want to create a rule where when we're using gray 300, we can use it in tandem with gray 500. Now, I'm looking at that and I think gray 500 is a little bit light. So I might darken it ever so slightly just so we can get better. Basically, my vision is to use this for disabled items. So for example, a disabled button, right? But you kind of still need to read the button to see that it's a disabled button. So that's a little bit too bright. So I'm just going to darken it ever so slightly just so we get a nice contrast on that. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. There we go. So gray 300. Yeah, nice. So let me copy the code from that. Cool. Then we're going to do gray 500 real quickly. Oh, we can see gray 200 also works on the inverse as well. I don't know when we'll use that, but it's nice to know that we have that in the bag. Okay, 1 second, I'll be back. Just need to quickly get some water. Okay, I'm nice and hydrated. So let us do the semantic colors and then we would have done our colors. And then we can then start to create our color modes, which will be the next thing to do. So same as usual, nothing has changed. We're going to do the same process. We're going to take the information, plug it into the component and update the component visually so we can see what we're working with. Now, we have success 100. Going to plug that in. Don't forget to rename your layers. Name your layers. 100. Success 100. Once you get the hang of this thing, you can start typing things in and then and you can start using, this section here to just, plug your colors in. We can see that our color combination works here because everything is really nice and contrasty. Nice and clear to see. So that's success 100 done. Duplicate that over. This will be 500. I wonder if after working on these, I can start to use the Command D feature to kind of duplicate this even better. So we're going to main selection, we're going to turn that to 100 and we're going to turn the fill into 300. Let's see. Boom. Okay. Simulating that. So by pressing Command D, which you probably already know because you're a Figma whiz. Oh, that didn't work this time. So when you rename the layers, you can't use that feature anymore. It doesn't work like it should work. But hey, we'll run with it. What was meant to happen was it just meant to kind of copy over and maintain the same spacing, but for whatever reason, it never worked when I want it to work. So I just kind of just manually copy it over. It all takes 2 seconds, all the same. Okay. Info 100. Grab that hex, copy, paste. Boom. It's working beautifully. I love it. And then 500. Info 500. And then in this case, I'll copy that over first because I don't want to lose it and just eat up seconds I don't need. There we go. Cool. And then we'll copy that over, and then we'll do warning. Warning 100. Grab that. Plug that in. Text background. There's info in that corner. Lovely. And then the last one is error. And then we are done with setting up our color primitives and also visually representing the colors here. We can start to tidy up our file as well and start to actually design it as well. So we, it's easy to follow. Again, what we're doing, we're documenting as we go. I don't know what I just done there. Try to keep the layers in, in a nice order. So I'm trying to copy them strategically as well. You know about those ones. And then error. Cool. And then we call this error 100. Copy that. That's the hex there. Change the background. Wrong one. Background. Change the warning to 100. We can see these contrasts are coming really nicely, so we can easily tell the client, oh yeah, the colors already accessible. It's that simple. And then 500. Then get the plug for that. Plug that in there. Swap out the label first, you don't lose it. And then boom. We have now finished setting up our color primitives. So now we've gone from this, where we're given these by the other team. These are the set colors. And now we are officially from here to now here, where we've got them all labeled out and all beautifully documented in our beautiful design system. That's going to be amazing. We've got the primitive set up. We've got brand colors. We've got accents. We've got functional colors as well. We did actually set up semantics, but you guys are, I'm not going to spoon feed you. You kind of know how to set this thing up, right? So just add the semantics again. So, go to all variables, create a new variable, and simply just create semantics. So I'll go semantics / then I'll create, success. Oh no, semantics are already there. We didn't, guys, we didn't group them. Sorry. So let's highlight that. We create a group and we call that group semantics. Boom. Done. Now we've actually set up these colors. We're now going to set up a file, a frame, and this is where you can have your own design freedom to kind of lay it out however you please. You'll see that the way I label things out, super clean, because I don't want any confusion and I don't want to confuse people. I want to make people be able to consume the information very, very easily without any confusion or without any random questions to ask. So I tend to make it as plain and simple as possible to lay out. Nothing too fancy. Remember, this is a functional asset we're using. This is to help us, another designer, and the development team, and everyone else looking at it. They need to understand it at a glance as well. So now we've set that up in our primitives. We're now going to lay these out into a nice, page or whatnot. Design it however you want to design it. I'm going to design mine. And then we're going to set up the color modes. And this is where we start to introduce how these colors behave and their usage. Now we're going to set up dark mode and light mode. And that's where the power of variables really kicks in, because now we can see our colors in use proper. So I'm going to take a quick break and I'll be back.